Today, Governor Collier visited St. John for a meet and greet. In a conversation with Press Secretary Kara Fulmer, she mentioned that they did not know that we had a local television station. And I mentioned that it was too bad that we did not have time for an interview or some kind of presentation, because what he had to say to individuals I would only partially get, and what I did get would have to filter through me. As a result, she and the governor graciously set up an impromptu presentation in which those in attendance learned, and those who watch the recording later will learn a great deal. So now, here is his uninterrupted and unedited presentation.
I was in Lyons last night, along with Great Bend, La Crosse, Larned, and now here. And this is, I think, your last stop in my district.
Okay.
So
It's a big district, man.
it is. We cover a lot of acres.
Yeah.
Now, as a legislator, I find the governor to be a very approachable governor and one with a willing ear to listen and to work with us. He's certainly a man who knows how to get things done and has a heart for the people of Kansas. He doesn't need an introduction, so I'm just going to let him take the floor.
Great.
Thank you, Governor.
Greg. Really appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody for coming out today. It's good to be back, and I appreciate people have a lot of things going on right now. We're out doing a 105 county tour. It's put together by Farm Bureau, Kansas Livestock Association, and we have been out all over the place over the last couple of weeks. You know Steve Backus, who's our campaign chair, but Steve is helping organize this and driving as well, more than a few hundred miles for it. But to me, it's about listening to folks, it's about getting things done. And on this 105 county tour, you know, it's really a lot of fun just seeing the entire state at the same time. And there are different issues in different communities, and that's part of the reason that we're doing this. But also, that's sort of how we like to operate. You've seen Tracy here before, me here before, but we're going to continue, you know, to keep working with you, and we want to listen and move the state. There's nobody who's done more 105 county tours than Bob Dole. And I was talking to him the other day, and he did a very, very nice endorsement for us. But he was talking to us, and I'm going to try to do my Bob Dole impression. Pardon that. But he goes, I have a 35-year-old brain trapped in a 95-year-old body. And, you know, you just got to laugh. But, you know, he is just a fantastic guy and really kind of who we are as Kansans, too. And it's, you know, yeah, you're conservative, you work with people, you get things done, that's what it's about. And it's been really exciting to just get all around the state here. We've got probably about 12 or 14 more counties to go, so we can see the end. But then we just get to go and start and do it again here. The staff is starting to get used to surgeon hours rather than politician hours. And I'm making them work extra hard, but that's what we're supposed to do in this job. You've had a chance to see a little bit of us, but you may not know all of Tracy or my background. Tracy is originally from Quinter. He's a fifth generation from Quinter. I'm a fifth generation Kansan from Hayes. So it was the Quinter-Hayes axis for the politics of it. But Tracy, you know, grew up, you know, riding the rails and lives in Salina now. And he has some background in commercial real estate and was a K-Stater and K-State student body president. But Tracy has been out here, and you know, he is really a great leader for us. I grew up in Hayes, and growing up in Hayes, you find out, you know, it's about your neighbor, it's about service, it's about getting things done. And one of the things that we don't talk about very much, but is really important to who we are as a state, is that sense of helping your neighbor and that sense of service. Whenever somebody has a problem, we deal with it, and you don't think twice about helping your neighbors out. And that doesn't always happen around the world, and it doesn't always happen around the country, but I think that spirit is really important for us, and that's the way that we attract our kids to stay here. That's why we're here, because we love this place, and it's about the people, and it's about who we are. Growing up in Hayes, I ended up being a surgeon. I do craniofacial surgery, reconstructive surgery, and I volunteer with an organization called International Medical Corps, or IMC, and we work in war zones around the world. And since 1985, I've been in about 25 different war zones, like Afghanistan, the Rwandan genocide, Syrian border, Libya, all sorts of garden spots. So I've seen the very worst in the world. I've also seen the very best, and it's really here. And when you talk to them, when they think of America and they think of the land of the free and the home of the brave, they think of somebody here in Kansas, and they think about us, and that's just who we are. And it's a very, very special thing that really helps rebrand America, and really will help rejuvenate America again. I think we just need to be ourselves. So we've got a lot of challenges, though, and that's what this is about. We've been working very hard with the legislature on dealing with challenges, and that's what this is about. And so one of the things that's been a challenge for us is education. So over the last 50 years, we've been under litigation. There have been 10 governors, 5 Democrats, 5 Republicans, all of us under litigation on this. And it's got to stop. It's got to be done with. So this year, what we did is we worked with the legislature, and we crafted a plan that puts basically about $100 million more a year over 5 years into K-12 education. I insisted that it have outcomes so that it has things, so we make sure that we have more teachers, it gets aimed into the classroom, and that we start reinventing ourselves so that our education system is ready for the jobs of the future, and that those jobs are here. And so we're really tackling this head on and working with the legislature, and we're getting it done. And we don't need a tax increase to do it. And in fact, we're going to be able to put some money back. And I'd like to see some money going back in property taxes. But we're going to be working on that, and we're going to keep our costs low. We've changed how we start running government. The second day I was in, if you think of government as a business, we're a $16 billion operation, with ag and transportation, healthcare, and a whole variety of things. We didn't have a chief operating officer for the state. And so the first thing we did is we designated a chief operating officer, a new chief financial officer, and what we're making every agency do is start having outcomes, and so that people can really see what's going on. That way we can drive efficiencies, that way we can drive outcomes, get rid of outmoded things, but let's be looking forward. So we're changing how we do things. And one of the biggest places, though, is in the economy. The economy overall is 3.4% unemployment. So we're doing pretty good. Now, but then how are we going to grow over the next few years? The way we're going to grow is that all of those jobs, particularly in agriculture, but those jobs have to be a higher value job so that there's more money going into people's pockets. We're not going to get a whole bunch more people moving into the state in the near term. But if we can increase the value of our jobs, we can do that in 2 ways. One is more capital investment. The other one is a better skill set, moving people up the skill set. So that means in that budget bill and others, we put additional money in for technical education. Not every kid's going to go to college, but every kid can do a great job, and they can do that job in Kansas. And by getting, certificates are really going to be the ticket in the future here, and it already is. A welder in Kansas can earn $65,000, $75,000. A certified nurse assistant, a mechanic. These are great jobs that we need in our communities, and we need them all across the state. We need them in our rural communities. We need them elsewhere. So we're working very focused on, we put some more money into that, and really redoing how we handle the Department of Commerce and all of that. One of the other things I've talked to a couple of people about is rural broadband. You know, you got to have, it's a basic utility. We've got to have internet access across the state so we have those jobs of the future. You guys can't function here without it, and none of our businesses can. And so one of the things, though, is the FCC in DC, the federal side, they have a map, and it is all red. I know Kansas is a red state, but it's all red. It says that we have rural broadband everywhere. And we all know that's not true. So what we're doing is we worked with the legislature, we passed in that we have a new task force that's moving on this. But yesterday I just announced that we have a $300,000 mapping grant. So we're going to remap the entire state. And that way, you got to start with the basics. We've already started talking to several companies, cable, satellite, telephone, about, okay, how are we going to do this? How do we make sure that we have this in the future here and expand it? And so that's our focus. Our focus is on getting things done. And then the big thing in Kansas and the Kansas economy is agriculture. And it's huge. It's 50% of our GDP in the state, maybe even more. And it's going to continue to be that. So to grow our state, we need to have a higher value coming out. We can't control commodity prices, but we can add value to our products. Whether that is something like the cheese plant in southwest Kansas, you know, processing milk because we have a great amount of dairy, or other things. We have to deal with the tariff issue. And when for example, let me tell you how I operate, so you get a sense. When China announced a tariff on Kansas sorghum, 179% tariff on sorghum, you know, I called Steve, I called Steve Backus. That day I called the White House, I talked to the White House, I talked to the trade representative, I talked to, you know, a number of producers, traders. We brought in the Chinese Consul General. We talked to them about that. We are a reliable supplier, and we also have the best value anywhere in the world that we're interested in. China has backed off on that tariff. But if you go and you work on those things and you work to getting this done, you can get it. I think we can have some motion happening on Mexico and Canada. I talked to the Ontario Premier 2 days ago on this. We're putting motion into this and really working on it. Another thing, though, is we can't stop there. We need additional markets, of course. And so in the last few months, I brought in the Consul General from Israel, Japan, Indonesia, 330 million people, Philippines, a number of other countries, about 1.2 billion worth of people. And they are interested in Kansas products, and they're interested in those values. And we're trying to expand those markets, and we have a number of trade initiatives going on as a state in order to do that. So that's the way we have to operate. We've got to look forward in doing this. So I really appreciate it. But I've got to talk about water for a minute, okay? And I learned a lot about the situation here today. And I really appreciate people talking about it, okay? And water in our state is our lifeblood. We all know that. And having a water vision so that our kids have the certainty is exactly what we all want to do. And there's nobody that knows our water situation better than the people on the ground. I got it here. What I will tell you is I understand there have been concerns about the water plans that are coming forward and how they function. I want to make sure, I want to come out and see it myself, okay? And Tracy will also be out. But I want to bring the water team out and the ag folks out. And I want to have that conversation with you. We know it's not a simple answer, and we know it's not a do this and everything's done sort of answer. It's a long-term piece. And that partnership, you're right here on this. So we get it. We'll work with you on that. And we want to come up with the best solution that helps everybody, here. That's how we win, okay, in this. And I also know that everybody's making really hard decisions in that, and I appreciate that. But we're Kansas. That's what we do. We make hard decisions, and you know what? That's how we win. But we'll do it, and we'll do it together with that. you have my ear on it. So I appreciate it very much. I'll talk politics for just one quick second, though. We do have this little thing called an election coming up. You can still vote early, or at least today, but you can't vote often. So, but, yeah, I know.
Is this Chicago?
Yeah, this isn't Chicago. Well, but everybody here is alive, okay? But we need your help out there. The polls have us with a slight lead in there. There's still a large undecided. People are just getting, knowing us there. It's really a two-person choice out there. But we need your help. What I'd really appreciate if you would call or email 10 of your friends or your neighbors. Just say, I've met Jeff. He's honest. These guys work their tails off for us. They work surgeon hours, not politician hours, and they'll listen to us. They'll work with us on this. And here's the other thing, though, that Kansas is a great state, and we all believe in it. And it's about us. It's about our community. It's not about the politics. So I appreciate everybody coming out today, and God bless you. And I'm going to ask one last thing, though, and that is, tonight, just say a little prayer for our state. He's given us a wonderful, wonderful place, there. And that sense of service, that's how we get our kids to stay here. That's our future. It's who we are. It's a very, very special place. And we need to just say a thank you, and also for the rain. God bless you. Thanks.